Hi there, welcome to Let's Talk Tottenham. Premier League is back again after a 2-week hiatus. We're still undefeated, we're still top, and Arsenal are still bottom. Hopefully that's the same at the end of the weekend. 3 great guests, all been on here before. Eujin, how are you doing, sir?
Fine, Chris. Thanks for having me on. Right, hi guys.
No problem, you're always welcome. I've got Brian as well. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. That was one of the best intros ever, Chris. Tottenham still top, Arsenal still bottom. Let's just hope we have many more weeks of saying that, because nothing gets better than that.
Yeah, let's hope so. And then Tommy, how you doing?
Yeah, it's all good, man. I haven't been on your channel for a little while, but I can see it growing all the time. So it's fantastic to see. Pleasure to be on.
Yeah,
and let's keep this going. Let's keep this run going. Yeah.
Pleasure to have you all on. As you may know, 4 streamers here. Everyone's got a stream, so go round. Eujin, Spursuasian TV. Anyone who doesn't know where that is or what it's about, tell us a bit about your channel.
Yep, Spursuasian TV, created by me. I'm from Malaysia, right? To make a bridge for the Asian fans, especially the Spurs Asian fans, to link up with the rest of the world. And I do quite a few neutral, streams at the same time. My usual streams are Sunday, 1 p.m. I think I got to change it to BST now, British Standard Time, BST, not GMT, right? And we go on for about 3 hours during that stream. And of course, we have the midweek show that comes on usually on Wednesday, and that's somewhere around 1:30, 2:30 BST. So, and that I'll do with the India Spurs boys usually, and we see how it goes. And if anything goes on, I'll be around, especially on Chris' stream, on Tottenham on tour streams, and on Tommy's show too. All right.
Excellent. And Brian, Tottenham on Tour, fairly new channel.
Yep.
Where can people find that?
So they can find it exactly as it says on my name tag just there. Name tag? Where are we? A convention? On my thing, on my thing there. I was part of Tottenham Away. Both myself and Brian Ireland moved aside and started Tottenham on Tour. And we're officially going on tour because I'm coming to London next week. So a lot of material is going to be coming out. And you can find us on Tottenham Tour. We're up to 390 subscribers. So hopefully after 2 Brians today, we can hit that magic 400 and then just carry on building. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline for Tottenham on Tour. I'm very excited about it and hope people come and join us for the ride.
Excellent. And Tommy Talks Ball, recently got over 1,000 subscribers, growing massively. I think all of us are fairly on there quite a bit, but where can people find Tommy Talks Ball?
Yes, I try, and I'm a little bit like Eugene too. I'm trying to get into the neutral side of things. Chris, I know that you are too. You done one on Monday, didn't you, with a couple of West Ham boy and someone else? So it's
United, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just it's not just Spurs. It's not all Spurs, but it is mainly Spurs. I mean, tonight 5:30 this evening, I've got a preview happening, and that's with a Palace fan to begin with. Then I've got a few Spurs fans coming on after. So yeah, I try and mix it up a little bit. But yeah, TTB, known as TTB now. None of that Tommy Talks Balls nonsense. TTB.
That sounds like that Michael Jackson song, PYT. That's what you need to do. You need to do your intro. TTB, gonna love you. Oh, I got a bit of Michael Jackson.
Excellent. All 3 of those channels will be in the description. All their Twitter handles and the YouTube links will be in the description. So make sure you check them out, like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the likes and subscribe on here. If you're watching, hit the likes, notification bell and subscribe. I'm on 91 subscribers.
That's a lie. You're on 92.
Oh, 92. Yeah, I've missed someone out there. Let's get 8 more before the Palace game. Get me onto 100. Plenty of people in the chat. Wayne Bonner, who's always on. Hi, Wayne. Bob Spur, who's been on here before. How you doing? Not sure if you want to respond to this, Tommy, from Bob Spur. I don't know if you want to clarify that or not.
Well, the thing is, whenever I get a new guest on, it's like Tommy touches Ball's virginity. You're losing your virginity, and it didn't work. So I needed that abbreviation. To come in.
Yeah, I
just see what I mean? Come, just everything is associated with Ball. So it's just TTB.
It was waiting to happen, Tom. But I've got to say, I just need to bring up someone. I just need to talk about Wayne Bonner for a second because I don't know if this guy sleeps.
Excellent, Wayne.
I don't know if this guy sleeps. I don't know how he sleeps because no matter what stream I'm on or what stream I'm watching, there's a few people that are always there, always there. And I noticed Wayne originally on the Irish Hotspur show. And ever since then, he is absolutely everywhere. I think he has like 58 screens, 58 keyboards, all surrounded by his bed and his workplace or whatever, because his support is absolutely outstanding. And it's just, honestly, it's so humbling to see it. Just Wayne, again, a huge thank you. And I know I think you are in London. And if you are, mate, I cannot wait to meet you, buddy. I cannot wait.
Excellent. Yeah, he's always commenting on this stream and everyone else's. So big up, Wayne. Right, let's get to the game. We come in into this in good form. Obviously, we're top of the league. But as always with Tottenham, it's never as easy as it seems, Eugene, because there's talk now of an injury crisis. But I mean, so all I've seen on Twitter is that Son's isn't as bad, and that's about it. So I'm not sure. I'm pretty confident that Son will be playing, Skip as well. I haven't heard anything about Bergwijn. Obviously, the South American contingent, that's going to be an issue because they have to quarantine. But what do you make of this injury crisis? An injury crisis or just the normal newspaper talk?
To tell the truth, Nuno is going to have his press conference 13:30 today.
Right.
I think more or less 13:30 today. So we'll find more information from him then, right? Who is going to be able to play? Who is going to be selected? And there's a lot of rumors going around. Maybe Tanguy is going to fight for his space again. There's the secret password there. All right, I'll fight for my spot. All right. Since Wings has used it, so must as well Ndombele use it. All right. Yeah. But like I said in the end, let's wait another 2 more hours or 3 more hours. We'll get clarification by then.
Yeah. What about you, Brian? Are you same as you, Jim? Wait until Nuno comes and says it, or have you been worried about the injury crisis, or do you think it's just a hearsay just because it's something to talk about in the news?
I'm worried about Son. I am worried about, and the reason I'm worried about Son is not because this could be a big injury, but we saw last season when he picked up a little injury, then he turned up against United. And then he wasn't fully fit, and he picked up another one. And then this season, he went off against Wolves as a precaution. Obviously, he played against Watford. Then he's gone to Korea and he's aggravated it again. I keep thinking if we keep playing him when he says he's okay and not fully fit, it's kind of, we're putting a Band-Aid over it before the big thing happens because he's not relaxing, he's not resting, he's not recuperating. And I think this game could be a game to say, do you know what? We've got this game at Rennes this week. But next week and the week after, we have Chelsea and Arsenal. And what is the bigger situation? Look at the long run. I'd rather sacrifice him so he doesn't pull up in the Palace game. Not saying he will, but I'd rather take that risk out. Maybe have him on the bench. But if he's not, this keeps being a recurring thing with Son. It happened last season, and I don't want this to, as we do, overplay him and then he tears something and then he's out for a few months as opposed to a game. So with that one, I'm worried. Skip is a big problem. Because then it's like, do we change formation? Do we go Tanguy? Do we go Winks? So when you're having to say, do you go for a player that's not been on form for a long, long time and is kind of now, I would say, you always have that. You always have the what's it called when you pick on one person. You always have the person that you. So it used to be Aurier and Sissoko.
Yeah, now, scapegoat.
That's the word. Thank you. Now I think it's going to be Winks. I don't think there's any way about it unless Dyer makes a mistake. Then Dyer becomes the scapegoat. But right now it will be Winks, or you go for Tanguy, who has said he wants to leave, hasn't trained well, has a commitment issue. It's kind of where do you go? So that's the biggest one for me. And then it's just if we look at the defence. What do we do? Do we put Roden in and keep Tanganga at right back, or do we do Dyer and Tanganga and then put Emerson at right back? It really is a tough situation, especially when the defence has been so settled. Especially when this defence has been so settled, you don't want to start messing with that. But we've been forced to. We've been totally, utterly forced to, and that's the big issue. And that's why Nuno gets paid the big bucks, so we can say what we think, and then he can do what he wants to. So we shall see. But for me, it's a little. I wouldn't say it's a huge problem, but I wouldn't say I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, Wayne pretty much echoes your sentiments there with the injuries. Rather not risk them and save them for the Arsenal and Chelsea games. He also lives in West London for you, so you can try and meet him there.
Yeah, we'll sort it out for sure.
Yeah, Tommy, we kind of mentioned this on your stream on Tuesday about the injuries because that's when they all kind of broke. What's your view on that in terms of are the injuries genuine or not? And with the defence, I think it's fairly safe to say because the quarantine of Sanchez is going to have to come out, and him and Dyer have been exemplary pretty much for the last 3 games. So who would you have replacing Sanchez in that defence on Saturday?
Well, I mean, the injuries to start with, I don't think there's any definite outs. I mean, even Bergwijn was seen with an ice pack on his foot, but I don't think there's any definite outs. I think the most likely to not make the trip is Bergwijn. But I think even that's like 50. I think that's 50-50. Skip, as the weeks progress, looks like he will play. But as Eugene said, it's all going to come out in the press conference. Only hour away, less than an hour away. If you're saying 1:30,
45 minutes, yeah,
less than but even then, I think because it's so touch and go, he probably won't know until tomorrow morning whether these players will make it. But Son, I'm hearing that Son's not going to make it. I'm really hearing that Son's not going to make it. But then
I saw something completely different on Twitter today. That it's nowhere near as bad as thought, and he was walking fine at the.
So I think I got it off. I think I got it off the Guardian. I think I got it off Guardian and Football London that he's almost certainly not going to make it, Son. But he's a paper talk. You never really know until the day. But yeah, I don't think there's any definite outs. It's not just whether there are actual injuries. It's shown up the lack of depth already. And then we've got the 3 players out. International duty. So yeah, we don't know yet. But I think this could be the time for Hill. I think this really could be the time for Hill against Palace. If it was Chelsea at Arsenal, you might change things up a little bit. But
you and Wayne are on the same thing there. I'd like to see Hill get a game against Palace to see how he handles a derby.
Absolutely. And in terms of the defensive line, your final question, the defensive line, I think it's probably going to be Royal. I'm not sure. I think Wayne Bonner's mentioned Royal as well. Yeah, he's mentioned Royal as well.
Yeah, bring that up again.
I think it'll probably be Royal, Tanganga and Dyer at centre-back. So Royal right back, because Rodon didn't even get on the pitch against Wales. He's got no fitness in him either. So he's not getting on the pitch there either. To be fair, Wales have got a few decent set. Mepham's good. Mepham's a good centre-back, but he's playing in the Championship. You think Rodon would get over him. So obviously he's lacking fitness. So that's why I don't think Rodon's going to come in. I think we'll go Tanganga, Dyer, and it'll be either Royal or Doherty at right back. But Doherty's been getting Man of the Match awards. I know midweek he did his 3 Ireland games. He was fantastic. In all 3. So who knows? But I'd like to see Royal. And we could see another new signing in Hill. Could be the 2 debuts to new boys. So who knows?
Yeah. Do you think he'll still be 4 at the back, or he'll change to 3, or he'll just change personnel and the formation exactly the same?
I think with a lack of centre backs, without Sanchez and without Sanchez. I think, Sanchez and Romero. I think he will have to stay with 2. Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Eugene, in terms of the defender and with what Wayne says there, Hill? Do you think Hill will get his chance to run out, certainly with Son being 50-50, let's say, and maybe Bergwijn as well? Or do you think he'll risk the Sons and Bergwijns if they say they're okay?
Oh, if Son and Stevie B isn't available for selection, of course, Hill will be on top of Nuno's mind to put him there, right? To be the creative spark to help Harry get his goals. Okay, and for the defense, I think he'll still play the back 4 with the flexibility of turning to a back 3, which we've been seeing lately in the 3 games that he's deployed them. Whenever let's say now, if Emerson runs up, then Reguilon stays back to cover. If Reguilon runs up, then Emerson will stay back and cover. But like I said, at the moment, try not to speculate too much on what's going to happen or what's not going to happen until the manager says it. And like I said, in Nuno we trust, and I'm sure Nuno knows what he's doing because of the positive results that we've been getting recently. And it won't be easy at Palace because Palace has always been one of our bogey grounds, away, right? But let's see what happens, right?
Yeah, I mean, Brian, what do you think of Rodon? Wayne said here, "What's up with Rodon? Is he getting back to fitness after the Euros, or is it an injury?" I mean, he's pretty much been non-existent there, is it? Yep. What do you make of the whole Rodon situation? He looked quite good last year, I thought. Obviously, we had a terrible defence, and he was the one shining spark. But what do you make of his non-involvement at all this season?
So if I had to say it in one word, it'd be confused. One thing I will say is he came in, and obviously he came off the back of the Skriniar mess, whatever. He came on, and his first game was actually Chelsea away. He made a couple of mistakes, but and you expect that with a youngster coming in, first game in the Premiership, and I thought it was great. All right, he made a couple of mistakes, Liverpool at home, but the last few games before Mourinho got sacked, without a doubt, he was our best defender, hands down, no question asked. And then he's just been, since Mason came in, he's just been oblivious to everything. And I thought he had a very good Euros for Wales. They didn't get out of the group stages, but I think he did very well. I think he's a real talent for the future. I really do. I'm a bit perplexed as to why he hasn't. I mean, obviously we heard he had an injury, but now he's with Wales. All right, didn't play the last game, but I believe he played at the weekend. I don't know how long, but I believe he came on in the second fixture. The last game he was an unused sub. I believe, or may not even been included, but I think it was an unused sub. I think he's a real talent. I'd like to see him come in because I think he is a good defender. But going on what Tommy said just quickly about Brian Hill, I don't want him to start. I really don't. And the reason I don't want him to start, and I've said this, I think we have to do, and I'm not comparing him to this player in any way, size, shape, form before people say anything, we have to do what United did with Ronaldo the first time. They brought him on and gradually they realised what a talent they had, but they had to home him in and say, stop doing these little tricks and skills and you've got to learn the Premiership. This ain't Portugal. People are going to come at you. And I think we've got such a talent here that we have to... Exactly. That's the Tottenham motto. Ode Fasa, build for the future.
That's from Bob Spare.
And I think we've literally got to start. I want to see him come on against Palace. But I'd love to see him come on at like 65, 70 minutes when Palace are getting tired and he knows and the damage can be done. I think we've got to be very careful to just not... It's very rare. Like people like Wayne Rooney, who is obviously a raw talent that we knew is a freak in that sense, how built he was and how... Like Henri called... or like Redknapp called Ledley King. Said he's a freak. I just think we have to be very careful with Brian Hill and don't expect the world from him because of two good performances in the Conference League and when he came against what I think I'd rather we bring him on 25 minutes every single game to get him used to it, and then when we feel right he's adapted, he's integrated into the Premier League, maybe bulked up a little bit, chuck him in and then let him go. I think we've got to be very careful with him, very careful.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy, Wayne's asked it. Be interesting to see which youngsters and Finnish players start in the Conference League. We pretty much talked about this on your stream on Tuesday. But do you think Hill will be one of the fixtures in that team to start, and that will be where he cuts his teeth for Spurs? If that's the expression, I'm not sure if that is.
He'll certainly get games. He'll certainly get games in the Conference League, all depending on what he does in the Premier League, whether he starts tomorrow. I mean, a lot of it's going to come down to whoever starts in the Premier League probably isn't going to start in the Conference League. So if he was to start tomorrow, maybe he wouldn't start. Maybe he wouldn't start on Thursday. With Hill, I think it's the perfect time to play him. If I'm perfectly honest, I think it's the perfect time to play him right now. He was not cheap. He is not a £10 million signing. He's effectively a £35 million signing. Because he cost 23 mil and Lamella, you could get 10, 12 million pounds for Lamella easily. He's only 29 years old. So he's effectively a 35 million pounds signing. He's not 17. He's not 18. He's 20. He's played at the Olympics. He's just been given that under 21s armband at Spain. I think he's ready. If he's not ready to go now when Bergwijn and Son are injured, or if both of them are injured, he has to come in. He absolutely has to come in because we have Lucas on the right, Kane, and there's no spot. Sessegnon's injured as well. So he has to come in if both of those players don't make it. Even if Son's injured and Bergwijn's a bit 50-50, I'd start Hill. I think this is I just think this is the perfect opportunity. I think this is the absolute perfect opportunity for Hill. And as I said, I think it would just be a rotation between the Premier League and the Conference League. The problem is Harry Kane, because we know Harry Kane wants to play every minute of every game and he'll push for that. He will push for that. Even the European Conference League, he will push for that. One of the other reasons we needed backup, essential, absolutely essential. And we talk about Palace, and we talk about Edouard, who looks like he may or may not start on the weekend. He was someone we should have looked at on deadline day. You've got, who's the other boy? You've got Rondon, who's free transfer, played in the Premier League. good experience. That would have been fine as backup. I know he's got that. I know he's got that affiliation with Benitez at Everton because he managed him at Newcastle and that. But we should have at least been looking at these players. Then you throw the international games into it, and you just think, how is Kane not going to get injured? How are we? What are we going to do? What are we going to do up there? It's madness.
Yeah.
It's madness. But with your question, the Conference League, I just think it would be a rotation week from week for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, Wayne kind of agrees with you, Brian. He's definitely a talent heel. See him as a kid who has more mature adult mind, look like Skip, and thinks he'll be a great impact player off the bench, which is pretty much what you said there. But yeah, Eugene, we've got this game. I don't know where Palace are, but then we've got Chelsea and Arsenal. So does this match those two games afterwards make this match more crucial in terms of getting the points? Because they're two big London. I mean, all three are London derbies, but the last two are big London derbies and big rivalries. So, is this match more crucial now to win, being that it's not a guarantee that we'll get points?
I don't know if you guys already knew, but I've just had something come through to me that Nuno has got manager of the month. So I don't know if it's just been announced.
Yep.
But Nuno is manager of the month.
Yeah.
He deserves that, doesn't he? Top of the league.
But we know what normally happens after a manager gets manager of the month. So they couldn't have announced it at the worst time. But congratulations, Nuno. Thoroughly deserved it.
Yeah.
Big up.
But yeah, I mean, Eugene, do you think this match is more crucial?
If I was Nuno, every match is crucial, right? If he has to set up that winning mentality, he cannot say, "Oh, I'm going to choose this match to forgo a bit," right? But every match has to be crucial for Nuno. And don't forget, in between the Chelsea game, we still have to play Wolves in the Carabao Cup. So there are a lot of decisions that has to be made by Nuno now, right? Like you said, the fitness of the players and all that, coming back from international break, the injury issues that we've been having and all that. So Nuno, I don't think is, I don't think he's an emotional kind of manager where he picks his players. I think he's more of the manager that he is based on the meritocracy, okay? That he knows that these players that he picks, when he puts them on the pitch, they will do a job for him, okay? And to show that they have the hunger, the passion, the desire to win. You see, what I've been seeing lacking in a lot of Spurs years, that we have a team, but somehow or another we have that lacking of desire to win. So now if Nuno is here, the first 3 games, he's shown that we do have the desire to win, right? Even though it was just a 1-0 scoreline, but we never looked very shaky at the back. We were very confident every time we went forward, and we did go forward to try to get more goals, but we weren't able to score more goals. But the positive results are there. The mental part is very strong, right? So I believe in Nuno. He will do the correct things, right, to bring us forward. I believe in Nuno to do that.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, Bob said manager of the month is normally the kiss of death, but there must have been a manager previously who won manager of the month and won the next couple of games. There must be, rather than losing every game. So, yeah, Wayne Bonner as well. Are there any decent strikers on the free agent list who would be decent backup for Kane? I read somewhere there was about 5. One of them was Falcao. I can't remember the others, but I think...
Falcao's gone. Falcao's gone to Rayo Vallecano.
Oh, right.
But you've got to be registered, but it doesn't matter if they're free. They've got to be registered by a specific time to play in the Premier League, haven't they?
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, free transfer is fine. Free transfer
is
fine.
But I mean,
you can't change the registered 25. You still can't until January.
You mean registering the squad?
That part.
Unless they're under 21 or 20.
Yeah, if they're under 21, that's fine. If they're under 21, it's fine.
I
don't think it's possible now.
But I completely agree with you, Tommy. Rondon, Premier League experience, completely different way of playing. And I don't understand that. And he went to Everton. It wasn't like a transfer saga for a few weeks. It came out of the blue. We could have easily swooped in there and got him. I just don't understand it. But yeah, I mean,
Chris, no truth on that one. I don't think we stood a chance because obviously Benitez had him at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Then took him to China, and then obviously he's there. So I think, even though we're the bigger club, I think when he knew you're deputising for Harry Kane or you're going to try and rival Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think he would have gone with Rafa just because of that connection. Like Harry Redknapp did with about 85 players.
Yeah, I just mean that obviously Benitez came in for him about a week before the transfer. If we've gone in 2 months before, he wouldn't have been interested. It would have been his only chance. But we missed out by not being quick again. But
it's a moot point. It's a moot point.
Yeah, this sounds like I don't think we're talking about the same club here.
It's a moot point, really. It's a moot point. The Rondon thing, the Edouard thing. It's a moot point because we're never looking at a backup striker. We're just chucking names off. Oh, we could have got this guy. We could have got this guy. We're never even in a market. The only time we looked at strikers was when Kane looked like he was off. We looked at the Vlahovic's, the Martinez's. That was the only time. That was the only time. As soon as Kane looked like he was staying, that was it. There were no more rumours. So we were never going to get one in.
Apparently, this is the reason that we haven't got a backup striker. Bob saying Levy approached Bob Spurr Jr. to be backup striker. He told Levy to piss off. Boy, makes me proud. But that's why we've only got one striker in the squad, I think. But yeah, I mean, Kane's going to play. Like you said, Tommy, he wants to play every game. I don't think he'll play the Conference League unless we're really, really, struggling to qualify, which I don't.
But do you think he'll want to? Oh,
he'll definitely want to, but Nuno just won't allow him to. You need to rest until whatever game it is at the weekend. Sit at home, watch us on TV. Sit at home, have a bath. Relax and don't. And the European games away from home, he won't even travel. I don't think in the group stages until if we're struggling in the group stages, the last 2 games he might. But yeah, the first 3. Not a chance he travels. Son, the same. Højbjerg, probably not. I think they all, Lloris, all sit at home. And
I love what he did, Chris, with the... you saw, I don't know if his hand was false because of the bad performance in Portugal, but he took a lot of youth, I think, for the away games. Like you just said, I don't think he's going to risk... what's the point of them travelling to France or wherever it is they're going just to sit on the bench where they could have just been at home with their families, like I said, relaxing, having a bath or recuperating, whatever.
And then be tired come the weekend because they've been travelling. It just doesn't make any sense.
I see them coming into the home games a lot. Like maybe 2 or 3, like let's just say for name's sake, a Winks and a Romero and whoever, who was the other first team, Doherty or a Davis, whatever. I see them doing the away game. And if we win the away game, the next home game, I think he'll go, okay, relax, guys, but if we get a draw or a defeat, I think he'll go, right, we need 3 points. Boys, you're coming in, you're playing like 45 minutes, an hour, then you're off. But it's home. You ain't got all that travelling. You're going straight home. So I can see him doing that. But I reckon once we qualify, it will be complete youth. It will be like, don't even think about it.
Yeah, it's obviously if we get to the latter rounds, we want to win the competition, so then they'll come in. But I think, the youth didn't do that well against Pacos in the away leg, but there was a bit of pressure on there. They were all young. They only really had 2 players in Lo Celso and Winks who could pull them through, which they didn't, but that's history now. But in the group stages, certainly in the first couple of games, there's not that much pressure there. If you lose that, fine, you've got another 4 or 5 games to sort it out, whereas that one was a one-off kind of qualifying game. So I'd be very surprised even if Kane, for the first couple, or the first home game at least, is even on the bench. But just quickly, Brian, Wayne's asked if you and the other Brian have a stream later.
We do. The 2 Brians will be back at 7 p.m. tonight. We have a guy that's come up on recent streams, Scott M. And we also have a Crystal Palace fan that lives over here. They do exist. It's amazing. I lived in England all my life, apart from my 3 years in Israel and 3 years here. Never met a Crystal Palace fan. I've met 3 here in Canada. So they obviously uproot and come over to Canada. But yeah, so we have got a stream, Wayne. It's going to be at 7 p.m. my time, midnight, obviously back home. But then Brian and I are going to be discussing, obviously trying to think of a time that's going to work for us both, because then it means him 7, me midnight. So the 2 Brians will be staying. But yes, Wayne, we definitely do have a show tonight, brother. Brother. Don't know what a brother is, but yeah.
And then Tommy, a question from Bobby: if the injuries keep on mounting, would you write off one competition, and if so, which one? I think we do have a lack of depth, which has been shown by this. But I think even if Liverpool or one of the other top teams had what is potentially here 6 first-team players going out, you could argue that they've got a lack of depth. If Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson were 3 of those players, then you could argue that as well. But I do agree that we've got a lack of depth. But yeah, in terms of Bob Spur's question, Tommy, would you write off a cup competition if they carried on, and which one?
Well, the FA Cup won't get going until after Christmas, will it? So you're going to that one's there. So it's just whether between the Carabao Cup and the Conference League, innit? But I honestly want all young players. I want all young players in the Conference League. I only put that question out there about Kane simply because does he want to play? And he has got power. He has got power, Kane. We saw in the Carabao Cup final, he was 20% fit. He was 20% fit, and the games that followed, but he still played in every game. That's why I put the question out there. But I want that to be a young, just for the young players. I felt like it was essential that we qualified because we needed these 6 players to put some fuel in the legs of the players that are going to be back up, Winks, rolled on, and also for the youngsters to give them experience. So I think it was essential that we qualified. I wouldn't take it too seriously. I honestly wouldn't take it too seriously. It'd be fantastic if we get to the knockout stages, but I wouldn't be taking that too seriously anyway. And the same with the Carabao Cup. If I'm perfectly honest, if it's a trophy for me, it's FA Cup, and it's essential we get into the top 6. Very, very important we get into the top 6 to attract the better caliber of player. So in future seasons we can maybe mount a title challenge. It's a long way off right now.
Probably what I do have to say with what you said about Kane, I don't want him to start these games, but what you got to remember, Kane, not only has he got the power, but you got to be thinking these games are where he can rack up the goals to get nearer to Greavesy.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big. I think these qualifying rounds are a big thing for him because he may be thinking, do you know what? This kind of competition, I think he's 40 goals away from, but around the 40 mark now. If he comes on
43.
and plays 43. We all know
42,
Harry Kane is a machine in everything he does. He'll want to be the first Golden Boot winner or the top scorer in this division. He'll want these games, with no disrespect to the competition, especially we get through to the latter stages. We know what the teams are. He could really bump up that number to a very, very small, doable number domestically. So I think he's looking at that, especially if he's thinking, okay, this could be my last season here. We don't know that. Hopefully, it's not. But these games could be a real let me play because I need to get some goals in, and it'll make me fitter or readier. I think with Harry Kane, it's a very, very. Do we need to give him games to keep him fit and get him motoring? And does he want to play to get nearer to Greavesy? So I reckon they're the 2 biggest arguments he can have to play.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that, Eujin? Do you think? I mean, obviously, these are going to be lesser teams than the Premier League, so there is a good chance of him getting hat-tricks every game. But then that could be at the detriment, like we've already discussed, of the weekend's game in the Premier League, where and then come February, March, where he's overcooked. Do you think Nuno will have that kind of sentiment that get him Greaves' record, or do you think Nuno's all about the team for now and the team for later on in the league, the following 3 days later, or whatever?
To tell the truth, I hope Nuno has that power over Kane, because I think Kane lost that power during this summer transfer window saga. So Kane will have to, if Nuno says no, Kane will have to accept it, and he can't go on a hissy fit and all that. But if like what Brian is saying is right, but Nuno might have a bit of heart for it. He might bring him on maybe for 45 minutes. Okay, if you want to get the goals, I'll give you 45 minutes. You try to get it in this 45 minutes. If you don't, you're off half time. We're resting you. Okay, it's not I'm not giving you a chance, but I'm not going to play you 90 minutes just for you to get the extra 2-3 goals. And you pull a hamstring or you hurt your ankle, and you're out another 3-4 months. And how are you going to get the goals if you're injured? No. So Nuno will have the intelligence to talk to him. I will support you in a certain way, but when it comes down, if I choose, it's my decision, right? No more hurricane power. No more hurricane power because of what happened during the summer transfer window, right? So Hurricane will more or less has to listen to Nuno now. I hope it's that in that scenario. I hope so.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Tommy? Because I agree with you. Certainly for the early rounds, it's about youth, getting them blooded in and everything like that, and the first team players who aren't in the first team. What would you make of that if he was brought in for half the game to try and get his goals and then invested? Would you prefer that, and then he kind of gets his chance, like Brian said, to get near Greaves' record, or do you want him completely rested and fresh for the weekend in those early rounds in the group stages?
I think there's a good point you made, Chris, about the home games, the home Conference League games. I think certainly for the home Conference League games, I wouldn't be totally against it. But I don't want him travelling. I don't want him even travelling for the away fixtures, for the 3 away fixtures in the group stages. So for the home games, perhaps. I mean, I would be dead set against it if I'm perfect. I don't care about Greaves' record. If
I
I'm
must
honest
say,
with you.
I'm dead set against it. I don't want him playing, but I'm just saying that I think.
That's the
some of
thing.
clarity
Yeah.
has.
We're just predicting, aren't we? We're just
Yeah.
predicting, but and that's the fun. In many ways, it's always the fun in many ways. But I don't think I wouldn't put him in any of the games unless he's struggling to score goals. If he's struggling to score goals, then put him in against one of them boys. Give him a go, give him a brace, and then he might be ready to score a few in the next fixtures, following fixtures. But if the England game's anything to go by, he's going to score goals from here, there, and everywhere. Harry Kane. It's just a matter of time, isn't it? It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Oh, we're in September now, so this is where he kicks on anyway. I mean, August was, But yeah, I mean, Bob Spurs made a good point. Rennes aren't a walkover, but still we should be beating them, I think. Away from home might be very tricky, but at home you'd expect to beat them and expect to beat the rest of the team.
They are no mugs. This is the thing we had a lot of disdain at the end of last season about getting in the Conference League. I did, and many others, many Spurs fans and streamers. But at the end of the day, it's the seventh position in all the top leagues get put into this competition. So Roma, Rumours, I don't know who finished in the Bundesliga and La Liga. So there will be some quality opposition there. Rumours are one of them. Right. I have no idea who the second club is we're playing. I had no idea who they are, to be quite frank. But Rumours will be tricky affair.
You got Vitesse and NS Mura.
Vitesse, the Chelsea boys go on loan there, don't they? Vitesse, all the Chelsea boys go on loan there. Yeah. And who's the other one? I keep forgetting their name.
NS Mura.
Yeah, there you go. Related to Lucas. Probably related to Lucas.
I mean, back to Palace, Eugene. Obviously, they're I was going to say a new team there. They're not a new team, but they're used to playing in a certain way, rigid and structured under Hodgson. And now Vieira is kind of trying to change that and make him a bit more expansive. I don't know where they are in the league. They're not particularly high. We're obviously top. Do you think Palace will sit back like Watford and Wolves kind of tried to do and hit on the break, or do you think they'll try and attack us being there at home? How do you see that game from a Palace perspective going?
I think Palace will come at us first, right? Because they're at home, they will sure have to come at us first. And like you said, this is Palace is going through a rebuild, transition. Okay, they've brought in Vieira, and they're more of Bobby, and they're more of what I call trying to bring down their age average. So they've gotten rid of a lot of older players, and they brought in a lot of younger players. And don't forget, they do have some striking power there. They brought in the French Edouard, from Celtic. So I think they will come for us first. So maybe the first, have you noticed that the 3 games that we've played, right, this season, the first 3 games, the first 10, 20 minutes, we are always under the cosh. That's when we get back our rhythm, and we get to the sense that once we get to our rhythm, then that's when we start to pick up and we start to have back a bit of control. So just beware for the first 10 to 15 minutes or 20 minutes, right? And like I said, we are still waiting on the our defense is not there. So which partnership is going to come up between either Tanganga and Dyer or Rodon and Dyer? So we're still waiting for that to see how it actually will it click, right? But I think with Tanganga in defense, it will still give them the steal there, right? And the only scary part now, if we really lose Skippy, how is Højbjerg one person going to cover those two or cover Dyer? Yeah.
Imagine if we lost Højbjerg now. Imagine if we lost Højbjerg now.
Don't go there.
Just imagine. That's crazy.
No, Tommy. No.
It's a reality. Look, it's a reality.
The guy's a Terminator. Don't say, Tommy, you do know if anything happens to him now, you are personally responsible because that man.
I'd be personally responsible if I said Højbjerg's not getting injured. There's no chance he's getting injured. Then he gets injured. Then I'm personally responsible, definitely, because that's cursing it.
You're always positive on your channel, Tommy. What's happened to you?
It's on your channel. That's why you can do this.
I'm always positive.
I'm telling you now, Højbjerg can swim with 1,000 sharks and get from one end of the pool to the other. No problem at all. But
as I said.
Okay, guys, enough talk of Højbjerg. Right.
I mean, let's just quickly going back to Rennes, Born to Lose 73. Ben's at home did the Gunners 3-1 recently. No, they're laughably rubbish, but the French side are definitely no mugs, not to be taken lightly of. But, certainly Arsenal are a big name in English football, and to beat them is probably quite a big scout for them. And regardless of how Arsenal are doing, but I mean, we shouldn't be taking anyone lightly. We saw what happened with Pacos in the first game. So I don't think we will. I think losing to Pacos could be a good thing in that first leg. Taking someone lightly or not being on the ball. Okay, well, if we're not on the ball, we can lose to anybody. So we've got to make sure that doesn't happen again, rather than when you get a massive, massive game, which you should be winning, like this North London derby, if form carries on the way it is. And then we end up losing that because we don't show the commitment.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what do you think, Brian, on Palace at the weekend? Do you think they'll come and attack us? Because Vieira's trying to make them more expansive. Obviously, that's going to be a bit of a learning curve for how they used to play. Like Eujin says, they've got rid of a lot of old heads, so maybe it's a few players, not experienced. But that Conor Gallagher, is it? I think his name is. He looks a real player. We give him chances, we could be in trouble. So we've still got to have our wits about us and be sensible and on the ball. But how do you think Palace will start the game or try and play the game?
So as I've said, Palace away is one of the most scariest fixtures for me. I hate Palace away. I'm more confident of getting a result against Chelsea and Arsenal than I am Palace away. That's how I feel about this fixture. It's a very, very scrappy game. Normally, it's the Palace fans. The one thing I will say behind that goal, I can't remember what the name of that stand is, but in that corner, they are electric. They are electric. And then when it comes to it, when it comes on about it, it looks like Palace, like you said, they've got a lot of young players coming in. They've got rid of a lot of old, and it is hard to get that new philosophy in, and especially seeing there's a lot of new players. But I just hope we don't sit back. I just hope, because that's what Crystal Palace do, and it can't be one of those. I think we need to go for the jugular. I think we need to literally attack them from the start, and for this reason is why I want Emerson to start and Tanganga in the middle, because he is an attacking right back, and I think with Palace not knowing with us not knowing what he's going to do, I think it could be a good way to bring him in. I think Emerson might get a start, but this is a game I don't even enjoy watching it. It's one of those games like, I know what this game's going to be. It's going to be so tight and so cutthroat and whatever. It's just, this game worries me. I don't think we're going to lose. I'm just not particularly convinced we're going to win. And obviously you've got the Vieira incentives. So Vieira is going to have them G'd up for this, and they're going to know obviously Vieira's history with Arsenal and what Arsenal Tottenham are. So this game has many kind of, like when Nuno went back to Wolves, is kind of there's many kind of things here, and Palace is a game that just worries me.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Tommy? Do you think we'll play the same as we have been, or be more adventurous? And this is a new team. They're still learning how to play, so there are going to be gaps there and places that we can exploit. Or do you think it'll be more of the same and a bit cautious, being that Vieira there, he'll have them fired up. We've got to be careful.
With the injuries and the players we have out, I can't see Nuno changing anything. I think that's too much. I mean, maybe if he's got the first team players, he can say, okay, we can adapt. We can maybe do this today. But the fact that we may be bringing in players that haven't started in the Premier League, I think he will stick with what they've gone with, during training and during the game so far. So I think it would be the same sort of. I think it's be the same sort of strategy. But I'm looking at the predicted lineup of Palace now, and it says Benteke up top. So I think. I don't think Edouard's going to make it. He must be carrying an injury or something. Certainly their strength is in their attack. I mean, Zaha, Ayew's pretty good. Gallagher is in sort of an attacking centre midfielder. But do you know what? At fullback, they're weak. They're weak at fullback. I've never rated Joe Ward at right back. He's quite he's like 6'2" and a bit slow. If Reggie gets hold of him, and Bergwijn or Son, whoever's on the left, we could create major problems. Like we did against Watford. They had Cathcart playing right back, and he's a natural centre back. Reminds me of Joel Ward, sort of lethargic fullback. So I think on the left hand side, we can certainly take advantage. And they've got Tyrell Mitchell at right back. He's not he's a young player coming through. So at fullback on the wings, if we get some width going through there, and our pacey wingers. I mean, Emerson, it's perfect for Emerson, isn't it? The explosive pace that Emerson has. Get Emerson in, obviously Reggie's explosive pace, and then you've got the wingers to move around as well. I think fullbacks the pace we're going to exploit. But also in centre midfield, they've got Milefovic, very underrated, MacArthur and Gallagher. They are two fighters. Milosevic and MacArthur, they are two fighters. So that will not be good for Ndombele. You do not want Ndombele in there. He will get murdered. He'll get murdered. So it's a Winks game for me. It's a Winks game. You go Winks, Ali, you go Højbjerg. That's the centre midfield I would go in with. But yeah, as I said, fullbacks, you exploit their fullbacks. That's got to be the plan tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case. Just a quick question. I've accidentally clicked on one of the comments and blocked Bob Spur.
I was just looking at that.
Bobby.
How do you unblock someone?
You just go back to your comments there and unblock him.
Oh, he's not on them. All of them have gone.
So no, you should be able to click on his name. You should be able to still click on his name as the admin.
Yeah.
I had to block my first guy the other day on with Big Boss Man because he's just some of the things he comes out with.
I can't see Bob Spur on there at all, so all of his comments have disappeared, and I've blocked him.
Bobby,
I've sent him a tweet asking. I've sent him a tweet asking how I sort that out, but I hope he doesn't hate me now.
He won't. I was looking at that and I was like, on my phone it says deleted. But when I'm looking at it on StreamYard, it said Bob Spur was blocked. I was like, I'm hoping that's not right. He'll tell you how to do it.
I did it accidentally. I'm so sorry, Bob. I'm so sorry. But I mean, Eugene, what Tommy said there, do you think that will happen, or do you think he'll kind of make as little changes as he possibly can and try and be the same kind of way that we have been playing? I mean, how do you see that?
I think he would not try to change a successful formula, right, for Nuno. That's one thing. But like what we all are anticipating now is that the news of the injuries, okay? But if the injuries do come in to a certain extent that he has to make the changes, so I guess he will make the changes. So that's it. Wait for the press conference to come out and see whether we get a definite answer on the injuries, okay? And then more or less we can speculate on what kind of team he's going to play, on how attacking is going to be. For all you know, let's say Son, all the 6 persons who are not available for choice are not available for choice, then I guess you will have to tweak it. And like if we have got Hill and Emerson coming in, I guess we'll be more attacking then, Right.
Yeah, I mean, how do you see it, Brian, in terms of us playing, or do you think it will be more reactive, and how Palace play is how we'll play, or do you think Nuno will set us up to try and take it to them, kill the game off?
So the thing I think the most is if Harry Kane starts, which let's say 100% he is, there's no doubt about it, we need to change from a 4-3-3 because a 4-3-3 does not suit Harry Kane at all. So I think there's going to have to be a change in formation. And then if there's that change in formation, does he go 3-5-2 or does he go 3-4-3? And then again, if he goes to 3-4-3, I think you're still coming across the same issue. So I'd like to see us go to a 4-2-3-1. And then even another thing you can do is you can put with Højbjerg, you can move Dyer up and play Roden and Tanganga. You can do that because we know Dyer did do that for Pochettino, and for one game, he can do that. So I think the main thing is try to see how we fit this in around Kane, because I just don't believe a 4-3-3 he suits. You saw the fluidity of Bale, Mora, Bergwijn, and Son, but then you didn't see the when Harry Kane slows the game down. It's not to his detriment because we know what he does. He plays the quarterback role and he can see passes that like in Sixth Sense, I see dead people. That guy can see passes that no one else can see. So I understand him doing that, but he does slow the game down for us, and that doesn't help when Son or Moore are making bursting runs, and then the offside rule's gone. That's the biggest question mark for me. How do we fit Kane in? He does start. It's just whether he changes that formation, which I think he should.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Eugene, in terms of changing that? And what's your predictions for the game? If you want to give a score, I can't do a score prediction because it's too much tempting fate. But if you want to, feel free. But yeah, what do you think on that at all?
For me, I think to tell the truth, guys, I want to see us go down 1-0 first, and I want to see the fight back, right? Because a lot of our games recently, until last season, until now, we have never had an actual fight back to show that we have the steel to win, even if we are down. So maybe this is a match that maybe if we can concede one, and maybe Harry Kane gets a hat trick, and then it'll be 1-3 to us.
Oh, just like that. Just like that.
Just like that, right?
Yeah. What do you think, Brian, in terms of predictions for the game?
I kind of see where Eugene's going about conceding a goal first to see how we act, but I want to see how long we can keep this clean sheet record going. I want to see. I mean, yes, we're gonna. Let's face it. At one point in the season, we are going to be a goal behind, so we are going to have to see what Eugene said. I completely agree with him on that point. But I'm so torn with this. I said it yesterday. I think I'm going for 1-1. But if there is to be a winner, I can see it being us 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we win, I'm not particularly bothered. Tommy, what's your opinion on the game and how it's going to go down and maybe the end result?
So, I'm on a couple of predicted leagues. I was on a show yesterday, 2 shows yesterday, and I said 2-1. So I've got to stick with that. I've got to stick with 2-1 Spurs. I've got to stick with 2-1 Spurs. Do you know what? I certainly agree. I do agree with Eugene. I think it's important that we go 1-0 behind in some games to see how we react, I get that. And I like that in pre-season, the fact that we went 1-0, then 2-0 behind against Chelsea. And there was some sort of reaction. I know they took a lot of first-team players off, but that does bode well. There was no reaction against Pacos because we were just absolutely hopeless when we went 1-0 behind. The whole game, we were just absolutely horrific. I've never seen a game that bad. I mean, I was sticking up for Winks up until that stage, and then that is probably the worst centre mid performance I've ever seen. So I think going behind would be good, and then coming back winning 3-1 would be great. But I think it's going to be a tight affair. I think there'll only be one goal in it. So I'll stick with 2-1. Kane will get on the score sheet. I'd like to see an attacking mid. If Dele starts, I'd love to see Dele get on the score sheet. I really would. Because I think if he could start scoring, if he could start getting higher up, because Brian mentioned the 4-2-3-1, so with a number 10. I think if Dele Alli gets a little bit more confident, he might just slowly move into that number 10 role. I think if he scores a goal, he may do that. So Ali to get on the score sheet. It could get Dele Alli firing. And we need his goals. He used to score 10, 15 goals a season for us. It's worth his weight in gold at one stage. So I would, 2-1 Spurs.
Yeah. I mean, the aforementioned deleted Bob Spurs tweeted me with his thing being that I can't figure out how to get him back in. 2-0 Spurs. He's doing a live watch along with fan phoning on We're Tottenham TV tomorrow as well. So make sure you go check that out. But yeah, as long as we win, I'm not bothered. But like Brian says, I'd love to keep that clean sheet record going as long as possible. But yeah, there's some players there I think who could really, really do with a goal. Kane, obviously. But,
Yeah.
He's got a good record against Palace. He's got a very good record against Palace. Well, he's got a good record against everyone, let's face it. But yeah. I
mean, Dele certainly. But yeah, I mean, if Bergwijn plays and he could get a goal, I really want him to get a goal just because
Stevie B.
He's been superb recently, and I think he's quite a likeable bloke as well. And I think he's quite important to us as well.
Do you know what? I'm going to stick my neck out and say, do you know what? Like Tommy, I reckon Dele is going to get a goal, and only because we all know what he did, and it was his arrival at Palace with that goal. Don't get me wrong, he was playing well, he was getting the goals, but when he scored that goal, it was like, hold up, wait a minute, there's something here. And I just think it's written in the stars that the rebirth of Dele may properly start. So I'm going with you, Tommy. I'm going to predict 1 goal for Dele.
Yeah, I mean, Born to Lose has said we'll definitely go 1-0 down against Chelsea. He fears pretty quickly find out just how good we are really in that game. So if that does happen, it's probably not the worst idea, Eugene, if we do go 1-0 down to Palace. So we're kind of used to conceding a goal and then having to react and then hopefully coming back and winning. But I mean, I still think we can beat Chelsea. I know they're one of the best teams in the league looking at the moment, and the squad that they've got. I still think we can beat them, and certainly if that ground is as loud as it was for the City game.
Mm-hmm.
But
Beat Chelsea, lose to Arsenal. Beat Chelsea, lose to Arsenal. Isn't that?
Well, no,
Spursy?
you got to look at it as well. When you say that about Chelsea as well, when we beat them 5-3, and Harry Kane, the birth of Harry Kane, they were streaming clear at top of the league under Jose. Again, when they were doing well under Conte, we were on that 13-win unbeaten, like straight 13 wins. Dele Alli popped up with 2 headers, and we did it again. So Chelsea coming to us when they're soaring is normally a good time for us to play them at the lane.
If you score early against Chelsea, I think we can get into them. West Brom done it last season and beat them 5-2. They were keeping clean sheets. Sam Allardyce's West Brom beat Tuchel's Chelsea 5-2 in the league, and they scored early. If you score early,
what a game that was!
It was. Funny, I think Conor Gallagher wasn't playing, was he? Because Conor Gallagher was on loan from Chelsea, so he didn't get in that game. And he was one of their best players, West Brom. It's funny, we got Conor Gallagher tomorrow. Pereira, another player we should have been looking at on the right wing, and Conor Gallagher. But yeah, 5-2. If you score early against them, put them on the back foot in a big London derby, I think that would be really interesting. You could score 2 or 3, maybe 4. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's Palace for me are just the most difficult team to predict this season, just because they're completely playing in a new way, and they're the most. I can't think of the word now. You can predict that Chelsea are going to be near the top. You can predict that Norwich are going to be down the bottom. Palace, I have no idea. Just I say that as well. For the first time on this live stream, I'm up to 10 people watching, so I'm hoping to see 10 likes when I come off this. I may have one dislike.
All subscribe as well. Don't forget to subscribe.
Yep.
And then I'm hoping Bob undoes his unlike because I've blocked him, but we'll come to that. But yeah, I mean, Tommy, Palace for me are completely unpredictable this season, and obviously they haven't started that well, but they could end up being it's that formation which and way of playing sorts them to the ground.
2 new centre backs as well. They've got Anderson and Guahi, who are Guahi is going to be a big time player. Another ex-Chelsea boy. They picked him up for £20 million. Anderson's very good. Another player we should have been looking at. But Guahi is he's going to be something special. He's going to be really special. He's 20 years old. He's built like Anthony Joshua. He's massive. He's quick. He's got everything. But they're 2 new centre backs. They're going to need to get used to each other. So as you say, Chris, a lot of new players. Yeah. That works in our favour. We don't know how they're going to play. Of course, it makes it difficult to. It makes them difficult to, I suppose, predict. But then we look after ourselves. We're Tottenham. We've got a good enough team to we focus on Tottenham and we're good enough to beat them. So we should really beat them fairly comfortably. And it is their back. 2 weak fullbacks, 2 new centre backs. I think we can get a few goals as well. So 3-1's not out of the equation. When Eugene says 3-1, could be three goals is not completely out of the equation.
Well, watch Anderson have a stormer, have an absolute stormer.
It was very good for Fulham, even when it got relegated. It was very good last season.
In other news, Bob Spur should be unblocked now. I really apologise for that.
Welcome back, Bob Spur.
Still saying blocks on the chat, but I've managed to go on a thing and delete his name from the block
Lovely
list.
stuff.
We'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge game for me. This, like Eugene, like you say, every game is a huge game. But it just feels that if we can come into the Chelsea game, I'm not sure. Have we got a European game between the Palace and Chelsea game? Or was it
Carabao Cup.
We played on.
Right.
That's next week.
The Carabao Cup. Yeah.
No, that's the week after.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we got Palace, then we got Rennes, then we got Chelsea, then we got Wolves, and that's when I'm making my debut on We Are Tottenham TV in the studio.
Excellent. All right. Excellent. I just think, Eugene, I just think if we lose this game and then we go into the Chelsea game kind of after a loss and then we do go 1-0 down like Born to Lose predicts, it could be a bit, but,
Bob Spur's back. Bob Spur's back. He's there. It's all good.
Back,
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. If I dislike what a streamer says or puts, I'm just going to block him and then put him back in.
I can't believe he unsubscribed and liked. I sent him a tweet saying sorry.
No, I don't think.
That is the definition of piss off, isn't it? That is the definition of piss off, isn't it? Block. Bob Spur.
But unlike, I don't think it's Bobby.
He did put lol at the end of the tweet, so I'm hoping he knows it was done by accident, which it was.
Oh, he does.
But
he
yeah,
does.
but yeah, Eugene, if we can beat Palace and then we do go 1-0 down against Chelsea, we've still got that positivity and confidence. If we lose to Palace and then we go 1-0 down to Chelsea, it could have a negative effect. Whereas if we beat Palace, then unfortunately lose to Chelsea or don't win, we've still got the Arsenal game, who are defensively kind of all over the place. They may change that in the next 2 weeks. But, I mean, I don't even know what my question is. I've been so flummoxed with
Okay.
I'm just rambling.
I'll answer for you. Okay? Number one.
Fantastic. What do you think? Just talk randomly and try and pick out a question.
Eugene, talk about the Palace game. Anything you want.
All right.
I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
We are not going to lose to Palace. All right. We're going to be positive and we're going to beat them. Okay. The ECL game start runs. That's another story altogether. Right. And when we come to Chelsea, we'll have to put in a fight. Don't forget, we fought against M City, and we will fight against Chelsea again. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Final thoughts for you, Brian?
So, yeah, I mean, do you know what? We're talking about this game 1-0 down and everything. I'd rather go 1-0 down at Chelsea rather than Palace, because at least we're at home. And the fans will literally hopefully pick them up, as opposed to get like we did under Jose and whatever. So, listen, as long as we win, I don't care. Whether it be a scrappy 1-0 and it goes off someone's toe or arse, or it's a 3-0 convincing win. A win is a win. And we're in a good spot at the moment. The Premier League's back. And if we can get a win tomorrow with all these injuries and COVID, whatever, that will set out a statement. That'll be like, whoa, they're missing a certain amount of people, their first teamers, yet they can still go Palace away and pick up a victory. That will send a few ripples, and then hopefully by the end of Saturday or whenever the full play, we'll be 12 points ahead of them, and then that's the dream. Let's just try and be 12 points ahead of them. Do you know what? To think we could technically be 15 points above them by the time we play them is quite frightening. And that's only after 5 games. To say we're 15 points ahead of them going into it, and even better,
but
be 18 points after.
Saying that, Brian, if they lose to Burnley and Norwich, it's going to be a different kettle of fish, because Arteta surely won't be there. If they lose to Burnley and Norwich.
But you look at that, Tommy, and you say, and I've been trying to weigh this up. If they lose to Burnley, let's just say they don't win, let's give them some kind of, let's say they get 2 draws or a draw and a defeat, whatever, or hopefully 2 defeats. Do you say to someone, right, we're going to sack you right before Tottenham? And I've invested 140 million. That's the only thing I think. If they lose to us, goodbye, you're done. The fans will not accept it after this poor start. I think if we go and beat them at the Emirates, then I think there will be pandemonium at the Emirates, because not only will our fans be laughing, but those fans they won't even be furious about us and start with us. They'll be turning on the board, they'll be turning on the players, and most importantly, Arteta. So I think a defeat against us, goodbye. There's no turning back. Whether they get results against Burnley and Norwich, but I think this game he will be in charge, and I think this is you win or you're gone. Please God.
I have to be inclined to agree with Tommy. I think, looking at their games previously, certainly Brentford, who have just come up at home, the first game in the Premier League, first game for fans at home. Surely anyone who's got a slight inkling of football knows they're going to be up for it. And you've got to match that, which they didn't. Man City, they gave up after 2-0. So they're not playing for him. I think if they lose to Norwich and they show that same again where they're not playing for him, they can't have that against Tottenham in their biggest North London derby game. So I think they'll get rid of it. I think they'll get rid of him, caretaker manager, nothing to lose, and then hope that the players kind of play for them. But I mean, but I hope he's in charge. But I mean, it could be anything. It could be anything. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, final thoughts, Tommy, on the Palace game?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think Spurs are going to win. It's a big one because, as you said, going into Chelsea and Arsenal with confidence, you will need to go into the Chelsea game with confidence to get anything out of that result. It's massive. It's massive that we get that victory. As I said, in terms of the actual strategy, Go after their fullbacks. We don't want to mess about with their centre mids. They've got hard-working centre mids. Go wide, and we'll get the points. It's key. Son playing is key. We know that. Son and Kane partnership. Son and Kane playing together is key. That's why I was so surprised this morning when I heard that he's not playing. He's almost certainly not going to play. But hopefully it's just paper talk. Hopefully it's just paper talk. And is the conference going now? The conference must be going now, or I don't know.
Yeah, possibly.
But, yeah, so we'll hear a little bit. But I don't think it will make a major difference till tomorrow. So many 50-50 injuries. He'll look at it just before the game, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, hope so. We're fairly unanimous here that we'll win, and hopefully we do get some confidence going to the Chelsea game, which is a huge game. And I mean, they're a lot of people's favourites for the league. They'll certainly be up there. So yeah, as long as we can go into that with a bit of confidence, we're at home, the crowd really on form, but we have to beat Palace first. No point looking at the Chelsea game. Have to beat Palace first. But yeah, we're about out of time before I go waffling on even more and talk about absolute nonsense. But thanks, guys, so much for coming on. Just before you go, you've obviously all got channels in case anyone missed it at the start. Eujin, Spursuasian TV. These will all be in the description, by the way, all of the links in the description. But for anyone who missed it, Eujin, where can people find Spursuasian TV?
Thanks for having me on, Chris. Of course,
no problem. Always a pleasure.
Don't forget to smash a like and subscribe to Chris' channel, right? Talk Tottenham, right? You can find me on Spursuasian TV, the midweek show on usually Wednesday about 1:30 or 2:30 p.m. BST, and of course every Sunday 1 p.m. BST on the dot. We do our show on Spursuasian TV. Free to hop on if you guys are free.
Yeah, you've got a like there from your co-host, isn't it, Jamie? I think.
Yep, Jamie. Yep, co-host.
Yeah. Brian, Tottenham on tour. Where can people find that?
You can find us at Tottenham on tour. We have the two brides tonight. What's up, Jamie? We have the two brides tonight, and then literally we've got a guy called Scott M, and Brian Island's got a Crystal Palace fan, so we'll actually get a bit more in depth to the Palace side of the way they're seeing things. So that should be a good show, and then we're going to have the after show. You can find us at Tottenham on tour, and as I said, a lot of stuff to come over the next few weeks because I will be on that side of the pond, and I cannot wait. Well, I say that I've got my COVID test in 2 hours, so hopefully that comes back negative, for which it should do, and then I'll definitely be on that side of the pond, and can't wait to come on your show a bit more of a sociable hour for me because 7:30 in the morning is a tough one, but I love doing it, and yeah. Make sure you all smash a like to everyone here. Chris, Let's Talk Spurs. Eugene at Spursuasian, which is, especially when he does his 5-hour streams, they're just, the man deserves subscribers.
He gets a lot of boys on, doesn't he? It's mad, so many people there.
He has a house party. He has a house party. And I worked out for the Watford game how I could watch the game on TV and get onto StreamYard to be part of the watch-alongs, and now I've just realised I have my wife's computer that I'm using every weekend, and I didn't do that, so but yeah, go to Spursuasian because he's brilliant, and obviously Tommy, I'm not going to say the name because I'll say it wrong. TTB. I'm liking that.
TTB, yeah.
He's been fantastic, and he's growing, and there's not been a guy who's worked harder and done more and deserves the followers. So yeah, everyone's smash a like for everyone else. Yeah. I can tell you, Jamie, that probably has happened, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes, especially when
for people listening. That's Levy security details just doubled Daigle on tour for people who are listening.
I've been getting very funny tweets from people sending me gifts, like that guy when he falls down the escalators at London Underground, going Levy when he finds out Daigle's coming to town. So I've had loads of those coming. So it's been great, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you, Chris. I'll meet you at the Chelsea game. We'll sort that out.
Definitely.
And obviously, Tommy, you're going to be there as well. So looking forward.
It's going to be a cracker. It should be an absolute cracker. Yeah. Can we just block Bobspur again after his latest message, please?
I was going to say that. Yeah, I mean, you have got some love from Jamie, Tommy. He hasn't forgotten you, but yeah, I mean,
Jamie's a good guy. Do you know Jamie? He writes in the comments after I've streamed, or if he's at the stream, he says like he's sharing with the Manila fan base, the Spurs Manila fan base. So big up Jamie, and he's always part of the Eugene house party, isn't he? He's always part of the Eugene house party.
Yeah, but then Bob, come on, man, you've been blocked once. Come on. But yeah, Tommy Talks Ball, formerly Tommy Talks Ball, now TTB, your channel. Where can people
It's
find
still
that?
Tommy Talks Ball. It is still Tommy Talks Ball, but it
You
is
said
a
you
lot.
wanted to change it. You said you wanted to change it. You didn't like the
I
comments.
was going to say less of a mouthful. I was going to say less of a mouthful, and it's
Yeah,
just
don't say that.
everything.
Don't say that.
It's
Don't
just
say that.
everything. It just doesn't work with balls. It doesn't work with balls. That's why.
I think you need to change TTB very, very quickly.
You got to change it to Tommy bracket TTB.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, where can people find it,
possibly.
whatever you're going to call it from now on?
I think Bob Spur said.
So yeah. Tommy Talks Balls. It's ball. I just said balls there. Ball. It's always all the same word as well. It's all the same word. But certainly get subscribed to Eujin. I think Tottenham on tour and Chris, you're both like 8 away from the next milestone.
Yeah.
So Brian needs 400. You need 100. So make sure you get over there, subscribe. Brian's got a great show coming up later. I know you should do it on Tottenham away. It's fantastic that you've reprised it on Tottenham and tour. So make sure you watch that. What time is that? Is that
midnight your time, 7 p.m.
midnight our time, 7 p.m. your time? So if I'm alive, if I'm awake, I'll be watching that 100%.
If not, you can watch it at your leisure at any good YouTube app or computer. So I just had to get my tie in, but other streaming services are available as that pillar could say.
And you can watch on the recorded versions as well. You really when I was starting off, and even like now as your channel grows, the recorded version, getting likes on there, getting comments on there, so key, so key. So give Brian your subscribe to Brian, subscribe to Eugene, and before anything, make sure you subscribe to Chris because he's doing the hard work now. He really is putting the hard graft in, and you can see it. It's a fantastic show today, absolutely fantastic. Privileged to be part of it, Chris. So cheers, man. Cheers, man.
Well, it's very kind of you to say so, but it's all about the guests. It's nothing to do with the show or the person doing it. It's all to do with the guests. So I appreciate you coming on, all three of you. Welcome on any time. And let's hope 4 wins out of 4, another clean sheet, some goals for Kane, off the mark for Ali, Bergwijn, anyone, to be honest. As long as we win, I'm not really that fussed. But yeah, just get some confidence going in the Chelsea game, pull away from Arsenal as much as possible, and keep getting those wins on. And yeah, I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. And my show's all about me, Bob Spur. Okay, right. But it's called Bob Spur TV, so I guess it has to be. But yeah. But yeah, thanks guys so much. Welcome on anytime. Eugene's been on every one of these lunchtime ones, so yeah.
I'm always here.
Hopefully keeps up his 100% next week. Yeah, and I'll see you guys at the game at Chelsea.
I'll see you on Friday for the build-up for it because it'll be. What time is it again? 12:30.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say I'll see you at the game if I don't see you before on here. And Brian, hope the COVID test goes well and the flight goes well. You come over here.
Imagine it comes back negative.
Don't say that. Don't say that. The 5th test has been cancelled today because the Indian physio got COVID.
Yes.
Oh!
Well, you gave that the kiss of death yesterday when we went on cricket on Will's show. But yeah, I mean, trust me, if you think I've ranted before, if that test comes back as positive today when I've been nowhere near anyone, you're going to see a rant. I don't even know what I'm capable of if that was to happen, but it's not. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. But yeah. Just before we go, hit the likes, hit the subscribes, get me up to 100, get Brian up to 400, get Eugene and Tommy up to as high as you possibly can. All their links and descriptions will be in the description on the YouTube channel. And if you're listening via Apple or Spotify, it will be in the description there. And come on, you Spurs!
Come on, you Spurs! Come on, you Spurs!
Thank you so much for watching, for everybody who participated in the live chat and added comments. Before you go, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Anybody who couldn't watch the live video, you can still catch us on YouTube. Add any comments, suggestions or questions to the comments section on the video. Anybody who's listened to the audio-only podcast, thank you so much for listening. Anybody who wants the audio-only podcast, you get this wherever you get your podcast from. Alternatively, if you go to Twitter, @Talk Tottenham, you'll find all the information there. We'll be back soon. We're live Mondays, 8 p.m, Fridays, 12:30 UK time. Until then, come on, you Spurs!